Hello everyone. So in today's video we're going to make banana bread. I might be a little biased, but I think I have the best banana bread recipe. It was my grandmother's and it's delicious. We're also going to dehydrate the red chili peppers that I finally am going to get to. And I have a whole bunch of meat from Costco that we need to turn into a couple freezer meals and to package with the food saver. So that's what we're going to do in this video. Plug it in here. My son loves my banana bread recipe. Technically it's my grandmother's recipe. I have never made a bad batch of banana bread when I use this recipe. So it's extremely moist, it's delicious, it's the best. Okay, so this is what we're gonna make. Let me get my cookbook. I have everything set up here. I just pulled out some of the ingredients to make it a little easier. So this recipe, literally everything goes into the bowl at once and you mix it all at once. You don't have to add the wet and the dry, and you don't have to do none of that. So let's start. It's 2 cups of flour. This recipe makes 1 loaf of banana bread. I always double it, so we have 2. So we're gonna double the recipe to make 2 loaves. So I had some bananas that were going really ripe, so I put them in a bag and put them in my fridge. It's okay that they've turned a little brown, that's fine. So we're going to put these directly in here. I just didn't want them to get more ripe than they already were, so we're going to put the whole thing in. This is about 5 to 6 bananas for a double recipe. So I like to start with mixing up the banana first. You don't want big chunks, right? While that's mixing, I'm going to get my baking powder. Get my measuring spoons here. This recipe is extremely fast to make as well. Okay. So I think that's good. So now we're just going to add all the ingredients right into the bowl here. So we need 4 cups of flour because we're doubling the recipe. Ooh, already getting a mess everywhere. My son actually asked me yesterday, he's like, didn't you say you were making banana bread? I was going to make it like 4 days ago. So I'm like, yes, I'm doing that today. 3 and 4. I feel like I should put my apron on. I never remember to put my apron on. So now we can put in the sugar. We put 4 cups of flour in. So now we need a whole cup of sugar. This is a 1/2 cup measure. Right in. Baking powder is 3 teaspoons. My grandma used to use this recipe for zucchini bread too. Just substitute the banana for zucchini bread. Oh no, how many did I put in there? 1, 2. I'm gonna have to rewatch the video, see how many I put in there. 1 sec. Okay, so the video shows I only put 2 in. It's a good thing I looked. It's actually 3. See, it's a good thing to film things sometimes. Okay, so 1 whole teaspoon of baking soda. And 1 whole teaspoon of salt. Salt. 2 eggs. Get my eggs here. Okay, eggs are done. And 3/4 of a cup of milk times 1, so that's 1.5 cups of milk for the double recipe. Yep, don't want to drop that. So about there, 1.5. We're just going to dump that right in. So one of the things I love about this recipe is it's so easy to make. Olive oil. You can use any kind of oil you like, but I just use olive oil. About 1/2 cup. This helps make it nice and moist. Like that. And then we're going to mix this up, and then you can add, I add chocolate chips to mine. You can add chocolate chips, you can add nuts at this point. This is when you would do it. So let's mix this up. So I have made this recipe so many times I've lost count. Probably at least a few hundred. I've made it a lot. So I'm going to show you the texture because I just know from making this recipe so many times what the texture should look like. So I'm going to show you the texture here. So this is the texture. It should be wet, almost like a cake dough. So it should be like wet like this. One sec here, I'll show you. Oops. Like that. Not too thick, but like a perfect moisture content. Okay, so let's put the chocolate chips in. Okay. It's like the perfect texture. You don't want it too wet and you don't want it too dry. Too dry, you'll have really dry banana bread. If it's too wet, it'll be too moist and dense. So let's add a little bit. This is like perfect texture. This is how I taught my son to make this recipe too. He, look at the texture is my biggest word of advice. Mix these in slowly. Okay. And just like that. And this is when you would add the either walnuts or pecans or almonds or anything like that as well. My daughter doesn't like nuts, so I'm just going to leave them out. We'll leave it like this. So now let's spray the pans and put them in the pans. Let's take this off. Put that in the sink. Get my spatula. My spray that I just dropped on the floor. I'm done with the recipe here. Get 2 of my pans here. I'm just going to spray these over the sink. Okay, so now we're going to fill our pans here. I got them sprayed. And we're just going to divide this in half between the 2 pans. Just scrape the bowl here. I think out of everything I make, this is my son's favorite. Out of everything. And that's a big long list. And this is his favorite. I usually make this in big batches and freeze them. So we will be doing that one day together as well. I think the last time I made them, I made, I think 8 or 10 of them and put them in the freezer. And he has successfully gone through all of those. So I had a little bit of banana, so I'm going to make him a couple here. Okay, Now they can go in the oven. These are going to be extended all the way up here when they come out of the oven. So do not pat these. I know a lot of people will pat their pans. Do not do that. It'll take all the bubble and aeration out of the dough, and you don't want that. You're going to have a very dense banana bread if you do that. So just leave them just like this. Pop them into 350-degree oven for 55 minutes. When they come out, I'll show you what they look like. While we're waiting for the banana bread to cook, I'm going to get ready and do some of my meat marinades and packaging of the meat that I bought at Costco. So right now I'm just taking off the thyme leaves for the one chicken marinade we're about to make. Just taking them off the stems. They are quite new, so they're not very woody. So it is okay if we get a little bit of the stem in there. Probably would have been easier just to chop it up with the stem, but like I said, they're not dried yet, so they're still nice and tender vines. This is thyme and parsley that I'm doing. I grew them both on my windowsill here. Okay, let's chop those up. Okay. Just going to give chop to the thyme here. There is a little bit of stems in there. Okay, I think that's good. Just put it together here. Okay. Use one of my bag holders. Okay, let me get some tongs. And I have some boneless, skinless chicken thighs. I'm going to put in a bunch of them in here, enough for a meal for all 4 of us. This marinade can be used on the barbecue or in the oven, so baking. Do roughly 10, that leaves 10 on for another meal. Okay, so let's put the herbs right in. Okay, half a cup of olive oil. Like that. And we need 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. My measuring spoons here. Just put it right in the bag. Let's move that over here. And we need 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. Soy sauce. We need 1.5 teaspoons of lemon zest. Let me get my microplaner here. Okay. Make sure you're not getting the whites of the lemon in. The white part is very bitter. all of that in. Okay, and then garlic, we need 2 teaspoons. Added a little bit extra. And some salt and pepper. I'm not going to add any salt because there's a lot of soy sauce in here already. Add some pepper. And that's it for this one. Wipe my mess off here. So we'll just take it off the bag here. Just close it up and mix it up. And see all of those herbs. Looks really good. Okay. So we're just gonna take out all the air now. And I'm gonna freeze this flat so it saves room in the freezer. Just like that. So put that aside. Okay, so I'm going to put this aside for now. Let's get ready for the hamburger, the ground beef here. So for this, we're going to make a meatball freezer meal. I usually cut this in 3, like that. So we'll do 1. We're going to put it in this bowl. Just break it up. The rest of this we're going to package normally for different kinds of meals. I'm going to put that off to the side here. Okay. So let me get a spoon here. Need to add some pepper, some salt, some garlic, add quite a bit of garlic. Okay, let me wash my hands for a second. Okay, now we need some breadcrumbs. I usually use crackers, but we don't have any right now, so we're going to use some breadcrumbs. And I gotta get an egg. Almost got shells in the dinner. Okay, and spinach. I have a bunch of dehydrated spinach here. Just gonna add a bit in. Added nutrients. And now we are just going to turn these into meatballs. Lift up my sleeves here. Take my ring off. Meat mixture looks like that. Okay, now we're just going to roll some meatballs. I do know there are some people like to make this freezer meal with pre-cooked the meatballs. They like to pre-cook them and put them in the oven, but I just like freezing them already raw. The main reason why I don't like to pre-cook them is because they dry out really fast. So Nobody wants dry meatball, right? So I don't like to pre-cook them first. It is a matter of preference, though. If you would prefer to pre-cook them, you can. It's really hot today. We are going to make this entire pan, even though my family only eats maybe half of it. Enough for leftovers for my fiance to take to work for lunch. Okay, let's just spread these a little bit. I like to kind of have them all in the middle here, just so that the sauce goes nicely in between them all. Okay, just going to put this one on the end here. Okay, now we can do the sauce. I have some pre-made teriyaki sauce that I canned. So we're going to put that on top. I like to make my own sauces and can them ahead of time for this exact reason, so it's easier. And I'm just going to pour it over the entire thing here. It's got chunks of garlic in it, if you're seeing some lumps here. I'm going to use the entire jar just so it has enough moisture when it's baking. Used another product we made. And this is done. Just put my lid on. And I just got to label it with the day, what it is, and the day that I made it. Just so I know how long it's been in the freezer. And if something needs to be used before something else. So, teriyaki meatballs. I already labeled this one before I put the stuff in the bag. There. So we got 2 freezer meals, and the rest I'm going to just package with the Food Saver. There's other meals that I like to cook fresh, so that's what we're going to do with the rest of this. This is a new roll here, so I just want to get the wrapping off of it. For those of you that have never tried a Food Saver, I highly recommend it. This is my favorite device for preserving meat. It takes out a good majority of the air, and the food lasts a lot longer and doesn't get freezer burnt. I'm just going to give you a closer look. So we're just going to seal the end here. I'm going to seal first, and we're going to package the rest of the chicken first. So we'll get that ready. When I'm doing this, I like to use tongs to do the chicken, so I'm not dirtying my hands. Okay. So as you can see, the end is sealed. Oh. Scissors. So I'm just going to give it enough room here. Probably a little too much, but we'll see. Put all my chicken in. This will be enough for one meal. I could use this in any kind of recipe because I'm not putting a marinade on it. I do like to have a bit of both in my freezer, marinated stuff and non-marinated, just in case I want to make something different. Okay. I do have way too much here, so I'm going to cut some of it off. Okay. Okay, and then I'm just going to press vacuum. I like to push in on the ends here to make sure it gets all the air out. Now it's sealing it. I just grabbed a new pair of tongs for the pork chops. You don't want to use the same tongs. And it's nice and sealed. Most of the air is out. So I'm just going to write what date this was. That way, when I'm taking meat out of the freezer, I know which ones need to be used first. Now let's do some pork chops. I'm going to seal another section here. These are souvlaki pork chops. It's pretty much the only marinated thing that I buy from Costco or anywhere. They're delicious. And they're the nice big thick cut of pork chops from Costco. Okay. So we're going to do 4 per meal here. 1 per person for my family. If I end up having company, I will just take out 2 packages. So we're going to do both packages here. Seal another one. I like to have them already sealed and ready and then put them in. So I'm just going to grab them. I try to situate them nicely in the bag so it takes out as much air as possible. Also, if I put them in there flat like this, I get more in my freezer. Okay, so this one's done. Try not to get the marinade up here where you're going to be sealing it. You want it to seal nice. Just like that, just like I did right here. Try and take that off. Ooh, got it right in there. Going to wipe off a little bit more. We want it to seal nice. Okay, now we can vacuum seal them. I'm sure many of you have these at home. This is just how I do this. Get some of the air out on the bottom here. There we go. We'll see, the marinade might go up and not let it seal, but we'll see. Yep, there we go. It's sealed. Sometimes if it's too juicy, it won't seal right. All the liquid will come up and it won't seal right. See, it was really close. That one. You'll see this one didn't go all the way up. It's perfect. I like to label everything. I know not everybody does, but I don't like to have mystery things. So I try to be organized and label things. Okay, now we can move on to the ground beef. So we're going to do both at once here. Oh, I think the banana bread's done. Let me go look at that. The banana bread is done. I just took it out of the oven. It's nice and raised, perfectly cooked. Looks gorgeous. That's the finished product of the banana bread. Once it cools, I'll cut a piece and show you the inside. Okay, let's continue. Last one here. Okay, now we got the rest of the ground beef here. Hand's a little slippery. I had it. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I push it all the way to the end, and this is how I like to do this to minimize the amount of air and to make it flat to fit in my freezer nice, is I flatten it out like that. And then when they're frozen, I stand them up like this to save space. Let's do the other one. Okay. This is roughly 1 pound to 1.5 pounds per bag. Okay, let me wash my hands and then we'll seal these. Get all the air out. These usually go fairly quick because of how I lay them flat like this. It does take out a lot of the air fairly quickly. Perfectly sealed. Let's do this one. Just label this one too. And there we go. We have, I'll give you a look here. So all together we got 2 packages of ground beef, 2 souvlaki pork chops, chicken thighs, chicken thigh marinade, and a meatball freezer meal. It was a lot of work, but at least it's all packaged and not going to go bad in the fridge. And now I can go freeze all this. Now we're going to dehydrate the red chili peppers. These are the red Thai chilies that were left over from making the Thai curry we did. So I am just going to spread them out. I don't think I'm going to need all of these trays. I'm going to take them all out. I think we're only going to need the one. Oh no, I waited too long. Some of them went bad. Okay. I'll take out the ones that are good here. At least we'll have a few, right? There we go. I didn't get them all. Some of them went bad here. That one's red. Okay. The rest I have to throw out. At least I got a few though. Okay. So now I'm just going to put that on. Probably 120 overnight, and hopefully they'll be nice and dried, and I can just use them whenever we need them. Okay, let's take these out of the pan. Still a little warm. They should pop right out. Yep. Ooh, still a little bit hot. Okay. Now let's cut one of these. I like the ends. Nobody in my family likes the ends but me, so it's great. It's still a little bit hot, but this is the texture. It's nice and light and fluffy and really, really moist. It's delicious. Best banana bread ever. Looks good in the middle. Yeah, it's perfect. It usually turns out perfectly every single time. It's a lot of work. I hope you guys enjoyed making banana bread with me and all these delicious freezer meals that we have here and stuff for the freezer. And this is where I'm going to end the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.